powered by the Emerging India Forum TIFF, Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, India Business Group IBG, Indian Chamber of International Business ICIB, and Prime Infotech Solution, our tech partner. Today's topic for discussion is a deep dive into copyright and design law with Srividya, leading legal consultant and creative protector. Hi, I am Jolly, associate with Prime Infotech Solution. In Advantage Learning Bytes session, we invite a subject expert speaker for mini coffee conversation to share their knowledge on a very trending topic. And today, I am very thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest speaker, Srividya, a highly skilled legal consultant with a passion for copyright law and design law. With a remarkable track record of assisting both companies and entrepreneurs in reviewing contracts, protecting their creative endeavors, Srividya plays a pivotal role in safeguarding dreams legally. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Jolly.
So, ma'am, let's get started with the questions. And my very first question to you would be that as a legal consultant specializing in copyright law, could you share some common misconceptions or misunderstanding that individuals or businesses often have about copyright protection?
Yes. See, for example, there are many misconceptions and misunderstandings that both people and businesses have, but I'll just deal with a couple of them here. The first one is that copyright law protects or safeguards only literary work, and that is not true. There are various categories, for example, under the Copyright Act of India, and these are 6 different categories. For example, they are literary work. Copyright protects dramatic work. It protects musical work. It protects artistic work. It protects cinematographic films, and it also protects sound recordings. So I'll just briefly go into each. So, for example, in literary work, for example, you have all these examples that are covered, right? For example, if you have books, or if you have a report, or you have essays, and you also have things like computer software, that also gets covered under literary work. Then when you have artistic work would relate to a painting, it could be a sculpture, it could be a drawing, and even under drawing, maps are also covered under this. And works of architecture, for example, buildings and blueprints that are put down on paper, those also get protection. And when it comes to cinematographic films, so cinematographic films would be any work of visual recording, and which also includes a sound recording in that. And dramatic work would also mean, for example, in the world of dance, when you have choreographic work, all these songs that we see, and choreographers that are very well known, and then they work hard to choreograph the work for the song becomes a big hit, the dance becomes a big hit, and the steps become a big hit. So then there's a lot of work that goes into putting in all those steps into place and all that. And so choreographic work also gets protected under copyright work. So it's not only literary work; it's a very, very, very broad area that gets covered.
Absolutely, ma'am. So India boasts a very rich heritage of art and culture. So what are the legal rights of artists under copyright law in India?
See, artists enjoy there's a vast variety of rights that artists enjoy. For example, I'll go through them one by one. For example, when it comes to, we'll first take up economic rights. And the first thing we need to know before getting into the rights of artists is that you should be the owner of either you should be the owner or the assignee of that particular work. Because if I don't own something, then what rights would I have? For example, if an apartment does not belong to me, then I can't let it out on rent and things like that, right? So you have that same kind of the first concept in intellectual property law also relates to ownership. So supposing an artist has painted and has painted a picture, then he has a lot of rights relating to that painting. If you first take in economic rights, for example, the right to sell the painting, the right to license the painting, then you have rights selling the painting, then there are other rights, for example, moral rights related to that painting. And moral rights are the artist has the right that to be associated that he is the artist of that painting, to claim credit, like that painting belongs to me, it has been created by me. That is one. It's also called the law of paternity. And the second one relates to a matter of integrity, where if something is done to that painting, in terms of if the painting is modified in such a way or mutilated in such a way, modified in such a way, and also in case it's mutilated, then the artist can prevent that mutilation and also can claim damages in case. But for all this, of course, he has to also prove that he has painted the painting in the first place.
Okay, ma'am. So
And we
design
also have
law.
resale rights.
Yeah, ma'am. So design law is also a very lesser known aspect for many people. Could you explain its significance and what are the advantages of design registration?
Yeah. So in terms of, thank you so much for asking about design law, because what happens is, as you very rightly said, it's the lesser known one. When
Yeah.
people think of intellectual property rights and all these things in general, the first focus is always on patents, which are of course very important. But patents is one form of intellectual property law. I mean, along with patents, you have trademarks, you have copyright, you have designs, you have trade secrets. And design doesn't get the kind of attention that it should be getting. So the whole purpose of what is a design in the first place? There is an act, a Design Act of 2000 in India, and it's a law which is, the whole purpose of that law was that it's meant to protect new or original designs, and the purpose of that law is to safeguard the designs legally. And these designs would be when they're applied to an article. An article relates to an article of manufacture. So design relates to the features of the article, which these features could include the shape of the article, the pattern of the article, the ornament. It could be a combination of colors, for example, that is applied to that article. But this should be by means of an industrial process. So this is more of industrial design. This is not design that you just, something that you do on your own just for your hobby and that kind of this. We are talking about industrial design. So those are the aspects of design. And when it comes to advantages of design registration, the first one is that to ensure that the whole process of registering your design is to ensure that the proprietor of the design has exclusive rights relating to that design. The moment the design is applied to the article, there are certain rights that are associated with that. And the proprietor of has exclusive right in the design and the use of that design, how that design will be used. Right? Nobody else can use that design, provided, of course, he or she is the proprietor. Then important point is that there is no infringement in that design by competitors or by other people. See, for example, if you have a company has designed something which is very unique, and one of the most famous examples of design would be the shape of a bottle. An example, if we can also think of the Coca-Cola bottle, for example, it's one of the most the design of that bottle, or the design of a particular car, like, for example, the Beetle or any other car, for example, because people also associate that design with that product. So once you have registered that when you apply for the registration of that design, you will receive a copyright in that design for a period of 10 years from the date of registration, right? So then that is yours for those 10 years, and then nobody else can infringe that design. I mean, they can come up with something of their own, but they cannot infringe or copy this particular design. Then, and one crucial point relating to protection of designs is that protection is only given to design which are registered under the Designs Act. So it's mandatory for you to register your design if you want to seek protection, regarding infringement and things like that. Then one more advantage would be if another person or your competitor or your rival duplicates or sells the products which are a replica of your products, then you can take that person to court. The same point which I was mentioning. Then, sorry?
Yes, ma'am. Please continue.
Yeah. The owner of the product with a registered design will also has the possibility of increasing the commercial value of that product. So for example, if you distinguish between two products, one which has a registered design associated with it, and the other one which does not have a registered design, then there are chances of increasing the value of this product. So it's also financially and beneficial. It will add the revenue to the company, to the revenues of the company. And every company is also encouraged should have an IP portfolio, right? For example, so then all these various kinds of in this particular case we're talking about design, but whether it's copyright, whether it's design, whether patent, it adds a boost to the portfolio of the company, which is good for the company in the long run.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, also with the rapid digitalization and growth for the preference of digital content creation, how does copyright law protect digital content?
So there are various ways of protecting digital content. And now the thing is, digital content, the thing is, it's also a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, if you put up something like, take this particular session that we're having, we are going live. If we are doing it with only a small group of people, that's one thing. But technology also gives you the chance to take it live and reach more people. We are creating more awareness about intellectual property rights or copyrights or copyright or design in particular. And that is on the one hand, but then it also makes things easy to copy, right? Easy to duplicate, easy to steal somebody else's work. So that's the reason why it's so important to protect your work. See, the law will provide protection to you, but it's also important for you to be proactive and protect your work. So the first thing would be to register. Like, for example, if you have a website or a blog, and on that website there would be various things that you can provide protection for. For example, the content of the website, there are images on that website, there are videos on the website, so all that can be protected under copyright law. And then if your brand, the logo of your company comes onto the website, that can be protected through trademark. So there are multiple ways of protecting it, and of course you also choose. It's also up to you. There are so many things to protect and so many things to safeguard. It's up to you to protect what you want to protect and what you don't want to protect. That's one part of it. But be proactive and register. Apply for registration for your. Be aware of what intellectual property you have, and then register it. Then second thing would be to also, in terms of digital watermarks, for example, right? That can be done online to prevent your work. And you also have concepts under the Copyright Act relating to DRM, which digital rights management. Things that are these are a set of tools that can safeguard software, for example, by limiting the control. The whole point is about limiting the control as to who has access to that content and or to that software. When you make it limited through access, and one way of doing that is through the concept of licensing. For example, if a company licenses something to a person or to another company, then there are certain do's and don'ts that come with that license agreement. There are things that you can do and things that you cannot do. So licensing is one more option. And also in terms of copy control, who has access to those copies and that kind of thing. So the whole concept through copyright law is also be aware that these protections exist, and also be proactive in trying to protect them.
So, ma'am, how do you stay updated on the ever-changing landscape of the copyright law? Because law is in itself a very dynamic profession. So, how do you keep yourself updated?
So one, when it comes to these different intellectual property rights, this thing is read it's all about reading, whether reading offline, reading online, reading in terms of going to for example, just one example, the copyright dealing about the various developments in the field of copyright law. You have the website, the official website of copyright law in India. It's called www.copyright, one word, COPYRIGHT, copyright.gov.in. So that's the official website. They put up, it's a very user-friendly website, and there are constant updates relating to all the developments that take place in the field. And similarly for the other, for designs, trademarks and patents, there is ipindia.gov.in. So that is in terms of the websites and getting to know about all the developments. Then there are the bare acts relating to all these intellectual properties. And then also reading from books, reading case laws, those kind of things.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, what advice would you give to aspiring legal professionals interested in specializing in IPR and copyright law?
The sky is the limit right now. This is whether it's copyright law in particular or whether it's intellectual property rights in general. It's a very, very fascinating field. And the thing is, for a country like India, which is so rich, as you rightly said, in art and culture, there are multiple applications, right? From songs and dance, and then each state also has its own, different songs, dances, and there are so many things to protect. Like if there are a few things in some countries, India has so many different things to protect, and people are now becoming so creative, whether it's offline or online. So for legal professionals, right from joining law firms to being having independent practices, or teaching online. Earlier teaching was offline. Now you can have sessions like this, and this could be one more option to teach and create awareness, because there's still a need to create awareness among people. Some people and some companies do know, but we still need to take it to a lot more people, so that our culture and our art and our intellectual property is protected.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving out your valuable time. It was great
Not at
talking
all.
to you. Great
Thank you so
talking to
much,
you.
Jolly.
Our audience is very enlightened with the conversation we have had, and like we have noted all the insights that you have delivered in such a short span of time. For our audience, we are excited to bring you the latest edition of the Advantage Learning Bites of the Coffee Conversation show, now available on YouTube. In this session, we have another fantastic subject expert ready to share their insights and knowledge with you. And we can't wait for you all to join and discover valuable tips and tricks from our guest speakers. Make sure to tune in, leave your comments, and be a part of these special curated sessions on our YouTube channel. Your engagement and feedback means the world to us, and we look forward to creating an interactive and friendly learning experience together. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, audience, and thank you so much, ma'am, once again for being a part of our session and giving your time. Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, Jolly. Thank you, Jolly.